Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Latinaly podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today's episode is really exciting, and it's for the women who are building something from scratch while simultaneously becoming a whole new version of themselves. Women sitting on ideas, businesses, brands, visions, the battle of self-doubt, imposter syndrome, perfectionism, and the fear of being seen before they feel fully ready. Because starting is one thing, but evolving publicly, scaling, reinventing yourself while people are watching, that's a completely different conversation. And I really wanted to have someone on who understands both strategy behind building a successful brand and the emotional reality of what it feels like to build a brand. And so to have that conversation, I have on the show today Pamela Delgado, a second-generation Latina, mother of two, former Fortune 500 consultant, certified brand strategist in behavioral science, and the founder of the Delgado Creative Group. What I love about her perspective is that it isn't just about making businesses look pretty online. It's about understanding human behavior, trust, emotional connection, and what it really takes to build a long-lasting brand. So, Pamela, welcome to the Latinaly podcast. I am so happy to have you on today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Of course. So, I wanted to start at a bit of the beginning because I think so many women listening, a lot of my listeners and my followers, especially that I just launched a new business. We have a lot of ideas, and I know a lot of women have these, wonderful brand ideas, business ideas, new ventures, and they've never acted on it. And they're talented, they're capable, they're creative. But I think a lot of women are stuck in overthinking and self-doubt. And for you launching your business, did you have imposter syndrome? And if you did, what did that look like for you when you first started your company?
So, I started my first business in 2017, and I wanted to start a business, well, forever, but there was always the I'm not sure what nor when the perfect timing was. And so I think what helped me do it anyways was learning I was significantly underpaid from my 9 to 5 at the time. And so being a new mom at the time, living in New York City, one of the most expensive cities in the world, the necessity was larger than my fears. And
Mm,
so I had to do something. And I did what I knew. I started a brand. I knew how to, my career started in fashion. So I started a brand to inspire, motivate, and empower women. Since I was like experiencing that, and I'm like, well, let's do something impactful. Was the Me Too it just so happened to be the Me Too movement while I was experiencing what I was experiencing, and I'm like, couldn't be more perfect than this.
wow. Oh my God, I love that. Oh, I love that line. That's going to be the opening cut clip. Oh God. So in talking about fear, what I mean, that's such a big motivator, the pay and, opening or really crafting your own door to open it because
Yeah.
some are not, being given to you or open for you. What did those fears look like?
At the time, it looked like, am I going to get fired?
Mm,
Because I was making more money, I was building a side hustle and a side business for additional income at the time. Was supporting myself always part of the plan? Yes, but I knew it would be a slow burn because I couldn't focus on it full time. I was also a new mom. And so I
mm,
needed that flexibility, but I also needed the income coming in. So it was, am I going to fail? Am I going to not be able to put food on the table? Are people going to not like my brand? Are people going to think I'm crazy, especially, my friends and family? Um,
Wow.
Yeah, that's primarily it.
Those are those are definitely big ones, and I know that it can really hinder your confidence too when you're starting. And I know for me, the way that I always think about it is, actually, I was talking to my mom about this because she wanted to start a little side hustle. And she was like, "Well, everyone has one." And I was like, "Yeah, but when you go to the store, you like a certain brand of bread, but there's a
Right.
thousand different brands of bread." And so when people are coming out with a new brand of bread or eggs, they don't really care about how many are on the shelf. They just they want to put it out there. And so
Right.
that's what you need to have too. But those fears are really, really valid, but it could hinder your confidence. And so did you ever feel like, maybe that you had to really amp up your own confidence or build up your own confidence before starting your business? Or were you kind of like gung ho, like I'm done. Like I need to do something about this. Like there's no backpedaling. It's just I need to go and do it and just see it through.
I think it's looked different as my entrepreneurial life has progressed. Like now I'll get in front of the camera, like just hopping out of bed and talking.
Mhm.
Before it was like, I need all the filters, I need my shades, my makeup needs to be on. It was completely different. And I think what I literally just had a conversation with one of my best friends around this because she was like, how do you do it? Like, how do you just go on and like talk? And I think what helps is the validation. It
Mm,
helps to boost your confidence because once people start relating and liking you and commenting you, and it'll be the strangers giving you the most love, that boosts your confidence. And you're like, okay, well, it's actually not that bad. And then you start generating sales or start gaining partnerships and start gaining deals. And it's like, this is working. So, that definitely helps for sure. And then there has to be a little point of like, I don't care what anybody says, and I know I have to do this, and this is just what it is. And I've also blocked people whose opinions bother me for some reason.
mm.
So they don't need to see it. I block them and I don't know if they know or not.
Listen, I myself am very quick with a block, so I love that, and I do that too. Um, that is that is so funny. I do feel you on that because I like I said before, I launched a brand like two months ago. Just I got of nowhere, landed on my lap and said, you know what, let me just turn this hobby into a business.
Love
And
it.
I was like, this is being received. I'm getting sales. This is a little crazy. And I really thought that what I'm doing now, I was going to do in 6 months, but I'm doing it in two, which is really exciting, a little
Yeah.
scary. But I do agree with you that whatever invalidation that we give ourselves, when you have strangers on the internet who are pouring that love into you, purchasing your product, connecting with you, it just like any doubt just vanishes.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, oh my God, like I'm really hard on myself and I didn't even need to be, which
Right.
is like, which is amazing. And God, I love blocking people too. I think, I also think that in doing so, it kind of protects us too, because there's a bit of a vulnerability to building in public, especially when you have, eyes on you that, kind of go against your grain, you don't necessarily
Right.
agree with. And especially online, even though, yes, a lot of, what we're doing is being received so wonderful and it's, positive, a lot of people judge online, especially TikTok.
Absolutely.
TikTok is so dangerous. Um, and when you're building something, I mean, it's definitely it's very scary. And a lot of people don't like judgment. Some people have to, get a thick skin too. And
Mhm.
I know that I have one. Do you also kind of just naturally have thick
I
skin and
think
you're like, nah,
so.
just brush it off?
I think so, but I also grew up playing sports.
Mm,
And so I've learned how to lose and get back up and continue trying. And I think that has a big impact on how I also like view my life and the world and entrepreneurship because it feels like a game to me. And
mm,
it's like, are we going to win this one or are we going to lose this one? Or what are we going to learn from it? Because business shifts and pivots, like all these, any idea that you may have. And, at least you tried. And what did you learn from that? And you can use that into another business that you're working on. Like you just never know. So I think growing up playing sports absolutely played a huge role on my, and having a thick skin and just,
mhm.
I mean, losing never feels good.
No.
And as I've grown in entrepreneurship, my nervous system, like I felt like that was a battle, like learning how to balance my nervous system in this roller coaster and like, okay, this is part of the game, but I still need to keep going versus feeling like it's the end of the world or like I failed at something when it's not over. We're still playing. That was just a good punch in the gut.
Yeah. Oh my God. I just did an episode on your nervous system and how important it is. And so like I I've definitely felt that shock to your nervous system and it is so not fun.
Oh my
But
God.
in
Yeah.
what you said about losing, I like to say that you have to feel comfortable with being uncomfortable. And
Yes.
if you're able to thrive in that environment, you can do anything. And and it allows you to also trust yourself more when you as you grow and as you scale. So when you're working with brands, and this is a big one too, because we've seen this all over TikTok, that people lose trust in brands very quickly. It all it takes is one little hiccup, one little, And so you talk a lot about behavior driven branding and emotional connection. So what do you think, or what actually makes people trust a brand the way that as founders we then learn to trust ourselves?
Ooh, that's a great question. I would say, especially if it's a product, if they if what they see online is also what they experience in real life once they have the product, that's all that anyone could really ask for.
Mhm.
And because of social media, we're quick to cancel,
Mm,
and the negative reviews just are more prevalent, which just speeds up the negative process of, the bad reviews and what can happen to a brand. And I think that's why it's so like the transparency and the authenticity of a brand and just staying true to who you are. You can't flex and say one thing on social media and then expect for your end user to have a different experience because they're gonna know.
mhm. Absolutely.
So I would say that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny. Um, I have my clients and I'm the creative director of their tea brand, and I always say to them, I'm like, they know where they are. Let's trust our clients. Let's Our clients are smart.
Yeah.
Let's deliver to them what they're looking for instead of like spoon feeding.
Yeah.
I think in the workplace, colleagues I have had to spoon feed often, but when it comes to a brand and client relationships, our clients are very smart. We don't have to spoon feed the information. They know where they are. They know, why they're coming to our page, what they're going to consume. And so I think that, and also what you said about transparency, people nowadays, they want to see the person. They want to see personality. They want to see how you are, your morals, what you believe in, what you don't believe in.
Yeah.
And I think that really drives the emotional connection that people have with brands because so my background is in branding and design. So I've been a designer for over 10 years and branding has been my bread and butter for the last 8 years. So having that emotional connection through design and brand identity, also tying in the emotional connection that people have with brands. I think, like, when I'm articulating to clients or people, I'm just like, branding is not just the aesthetics, it's
Right.
the emotion. It's how people feel about your brand. So, in your own words, what is the difference between the emotional connection that someone has with a brand and the aesthetics of a brand, and how that then can articulate how people feel about it?
I think it's easier to remember how you feel about something. So if anyone could come across your brand and you gave them a certain feeling, they're going to remember that feeling before they remember the details on your logo.
Mhm.
They'll probably remember colors because you can spot that in a second,
Mhm.
but nobody is going to forget how you made them feel. Um, I think that is the the only description that I can think of off the top of my head.
Mhm.
If this was like a rapid fire question, I would say that feeling that someone gets when they experience your brand, because
Mhm.
that's something that is long lasting, and they're going to constantly repeat that when they talk about your brand because, it's different.
Mhm. And that also drives loyalty too. And it brings people coming back, and that's where, we can see brands kind of go through different ideations and versions, and, you know, people stay. I mean, the amount of rebrands that certain companies have had, and, to some people like myself, I'm going to notice the design and how it's different, but it's the connection that people have with brands, and just continuing to build that emotional trust, and, like, everything that I've seen online with all the cancel culture, and it's so important to not only be transparent, to still drive that loyalty with your clients, and then your clients will then give it back to you.
Oh,
Um,
100%.
yeah, and so what do you like, when you're shopping, when you're looking at a brand, how do you know, or how do you, when you're shopping, what makes a brand feel instantly trustworthy if you're not working with them and you're kind of just, shopping, looking around, or even if you're doing like an analysis or working with it, but like what immediately says, okay, this brand is trustworthy, or saying, okay, we need to pivot and we need to do some work here.
Immediately off like when I'm just, for example, scrolling or shopping for things on my own or for my kids, I do judge based on like the whole aesthetic first, because
Mhm.
that is the first thing that's going to grab my attention if I am like shopping online. And then I'll go to their website, and does the website match like the beautiful images that I just saw? And sometimes it
Mhm.
doesn't. And I'm like, that that doesn't really make sense because I just
Mhm.
saw like this beautiful image or video. And also testimonials. What are people saying? Are other people trusting the brand? Has anybody purchased it? I also Because I also love to support women-owned and small businesses, I also love to learn about the founder.
Mm.
Who's the founder? What's the story? And chances are, if the story, like, captivated me, I'll sometimes buy because I wanna support the founder, and,
Mm.
like, what she or he did is great. Um, I think ever since jumping into entrepreneurship, because I now understand the life of an entrepreneur and a mompreneur and family and being second generation, like I want to support smaller businesses. So seeing the founder, learning about the founder is really important. But immediately if I'm scrolling it is, does it look premium? And if it doesn't look premium, what's the messaging? Where are they in their entrepreneurial journey? Because I know what it's like to have to do everything yourselves. I've done it plenty of times.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's like, can I connect with the founder? And is it like, is it ethically made? Does it make sense? I don't want, I don't want it to be like a luxury brand and then I'm paying for polyester. Like, I'm
Mm,
not doing that because I've seen that plenty of times too.
mm-hmm. No, absolutely. I've definitely seen that as well. And I think right now small businesses are really taking over. And I think a lot of handmade businesses as
Mhm.
well. Just that love and attention. I think I also too, I think because of COVID, there's been a lack of connectivity with people. And I think that when you're shopping small, that or even like what you said about connecting with the founder, there's this connection that you build not only with the brand itself, but also who came up with it and the founder and their story. And so it becomes a little bit more of an intimate purchase too,
Yeah.
which I think is really nice. So when you're looking at these brands, you know, a lot of people don't really understand the visual identity when it comes to branding.
Mhm.
And there's a story that's told in branding and the visual identity. And I try to say this all the time to people. I have followers on my page who come out with businesses and I look at their branding and I'm like, I would have done it for free if you just asked because like I see it and I'm like, my love, oh my God. Oh my goodness. Like we could do so many wonderful things. And like I give my, I drop some gems for them here and there, you know, um, and I try to do my part. I'm always doing a pro bono, project, because I just want them to succeed and do everything that they want to do. Um, but I feel that you could definitely tell immediately when a brand is just not polished or
Huh?
when it's a little too polished and it's kind of baseline and no personality to it. Um, and I think that that plays a really big factor in customer loyalty. So, how important is storytelling in building that customer loyalty?
Oh my gosh, especially nowadays, it's very important. Um, and I feel like because you're competing and everybody is storytelling, and also people remember stories, if you share your story and someone can say it almost verbatim or relatively close to how you shared the story,
Mhm,
that is so helpful. It just supports the referral base and word of mouth and people being willing to share. Especially now with social media, the share is
mm,
could be really valuable.
yeah, and brands are going viral overnight.
Yeah.
Um, and so when women are starting their I mean, I don't know anything about running a business. Like when we kind of enter into these ventures, there's a lot of things that we don't know. And, we're kind of learning on the fly and on the job. So if you had to say what is top three things that new founders are getting wrong about branding and starting their businesses?
One, I feel like they're jumping into AI
Mm,
too soon. We need to connect with the founder. I don't I personally I see the value in AI to use it as a tool, but I see a
mhm,
lot of young businesses create avatars and creating AI photos, and nobody even knows who you are, and you're putting a robot there. Like, I feel like that's a missed opportunity. Or maybe not a missed opportunity, but you are fast forwarding too soon and
mhm,
people want to connect with you. And I don't know if it could be like, I understand the necessity of time. Um, but also there's huge value in you connecting with your founder. Another one is probably um, not optimizing Canva templates for it to look like you,
Mm,
and maybe using them for what they are, I think, is not helpful because you're blending in with the thousands of others who are using that same Canva template and didn't make any changes for it to reflect your own brand.
mhm,
Um, and the third one, I would transparency.
mhm,
Taking people through the process. You're small, ask for like what you said about was it your clients or your customers? They already know what they want. Have them be part of
mhm,
the process. Ask them. This is who it's for anyways. They could they could support where your business is going and give you ideas and literally tell you what they want from you. So
mhm.
I think those top 3 would be my first to-dos
Those
or to
are
take into consideration.
Yeah, no, those are really, really good, and I think it's important to, um it's important to look at what other people are doing wrong so that then you can do it correctly and you could do it better.
Correct.
Um, and so on the flip side, when launching a new business, what do you think is probably one of the most important things for people to do when launching their business? Like your if you had to give like your desert island advice on starting a business, what is the one thing that you recommend founders to do?
Even if you do the branding yourself, make sure the experience and the way your brand looks is the same everywhere. It
Mm,
could literally be in black and white, but it's the same everywhere so people recognize you. Um, Another one, I think if it's a product, I would share transparency on the whole production process, to ensure is it sustainable? Is it clean? All of these things, like people really care about that these days.
mhm,
And I think that'll just support your pricing and trust and you being the advocate of this brand, of it being a founder led brand, I think is really
mhm,
important because in sales, people are going to buy because they like you. And if people
mhm.
don't know who you are, I feel like it'll just take longer.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely driving consistency throughout is like it is key. Consistency, cohesion, is always key. I always tell that to my clients. The goal that I've seen a lot of people strive for is an attainable luxury. Top priority is for people to feel cared for when
Mhm.
they receive this like even the unboxing experience is
Oh my god.
so important. It is like everything. And I cuz I love it.
Me
I
too.
love a good unboxing. Oh
Love
my
it.
I love going through all the things and I
Yeah,
love
it's
all the
such a
cohesion, like,
nice experience.
it just adds to it, and, it makes you feel valued when you buy something and you open it up and you're like, "Oh my god, like, someone put all this care and attention into my package," and not only is, like, my package gorgeous, but my product is gorgeous,
Right.
and it just continues to drive that really just that love and that loyalty that
Yeah.
I've seen with my clients and my customers. And I think what you said about having the brand be the same everywhere, I think sometimes a lot of brands, what they miss the mark on in terms of cohesion is that the product, like I think you touched on this, the product looks one way, but when I go on the website, it's not, they don't, like this product does not look like it came from this website.
Right.
And I don't know I don't know how they missed the mark on that one because your clients can tell, like, your customers can tell like this.
Yeah.
So if they can tell and it's not their business, you
Right.
should be able to tell too,
Right.
which is like, that is it is so crazy. So I want to dive a little bit more into you and your process. So, your company, do brands approach you, reach out to you, hire you to do like an analysis, or is it scaling? Is it rebrand? Is it, like remessaging? Like, what does your expertise, where is your expertise to then push these brands like forward? Just give me all the details.
Yeah. So actually, all of the above. So
Mm,
we've had clients to where I want to start a brand. This is the name of it. We need the full brand identity. And because our method is designed to handle everything you need to then go to ads, and since everything is fully optimized, your ad is actually going to work versus some who invest in ads and they're like, how come I'm not getting any conversions? And you go look at their site and you're like, well,
mm.
that's obvious. Um, and so we've had that. We've also had rebrands. Recently, we've actually been working with a lot of founders who have been in the game for a few years and they've changed personally. Their lives has completely changed. And they're like, my brand no longer feels or looks like me.
Mm,
And, or I don't even know what my brand should look like now because I've experienced XYZ. My business is now this. I want it to be this. I need your help. And so that usually, not usually, but that lies in our foundation phase, which is your entire brand identity. And the brand identity to us is not just the aesthetics. It's not just your logos, your colors and typography, but like,
mhm,
how do you want your people
mhm,
to feel?
mhm,
We don't want them to fear. We want to build trust here.
mhm,
So how do we want them to feel? What behavior psychology or buyer psychology traits do we need to use depending on what your business is? And how can we use them creatively based on what platforms you're on? And how is your website designed? Is it a seamless checkout? Does it make shopping exciting and make me feel something or make me feel the same way as your visuals on social media? You know, you want to remove friction and remove as much cognitive load because
mhm.
sometimes we tend to overwhelm at the beginning and sometimes that can be too much for people. So how can we simplify it while maintaining, giving them that feeling and having them buy into who you are and what you do.
Can you dive a little bit deeper into that buyer psychology? Because I I would love if you could expand on what it is and how do you then conduct that research, I guess, for your clients and say, okay, this is what we want.
Yeah, we go through an entire like workshop process before we actually start designing and putting the brand identity together because it's a lot of questions. The founder knows their business and audience more.
Mhm.
Will also help in analysis and competitive analysis. But buyer psychology is essentially the buyer is your customer. And we understand how, depending on the product, what your customer is most likely thinking when they're experiencing your brand and what they have to go through to shop. Especially if it's in beauty, if it's CPG, if it's, even life sciences. I used to work in
Mhm.
radiology. I'm familiar with all of that stuff
Mhm.
and with various different industries. So, because we understand consumer behavior, we understand what triggers we need to eliminate or how we can make your website easier to navigate. How can we remove any blocks to then support conversion faster?
Mhm.
Even when it's on mobile, we don't want to do 1,000 clicks just to check out. Like, you're asking me way too many questions. Now I'm over it. And Like, I don't even care to buy it because I have to
Yeah.
go through 10 more clicks. So things like that. We also are consumers. We know like the types of websites and brands that we love to shop from. So it's also, what is your primary competitor doing that maybe you're not, and what inspiration can you take from there to implement what works? Sometimes it's like we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Someone's already doing it. I mean, for example, Ulta's website and Sephora's website looks pretty identical to me.
Hmm.
So you really don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah. What about, and so I love going through what other people are doing, especially when you're a new founder, going and looking at the bigger brands.
Hmm.
So this is where it could get a little tricky in my head because I'm thinking like, okay, I'm new. I'm a brand new brand, fresh out the womb. This company's been here for 30 years. Now they have this longevity in their client relationships and their brand awareness that I simply do not have yet. So, in terms of what you were saying, in regard to the UX of certain websites,
Hmm.
because a brand has been around for longer and they have more customer loyalty, XYZ, a person is more inclined to go through, let's say, the leaps and bounds to
Yeah.
check out of this person's website. And, even if we have a similar product, you know, adding that ease to checkout is, v- I mean, super important. But what happens when you run into a situation where the the bigger brand is doing it the best that it could be, and for your client's product, you're gonna have to go through a little bit to get to the checkout. What if it's like a customization or things like that? So how do you account for situations like that?
I think that's when your branding comes into play because if you, if not if, but when we press publish on our business, we're already competing with the bigger
Mm,
brands. And I don't know if it's a misconception or something in our minds that makes us feel like, well, I just started, so looking like this is okay.
mhm,
It's okay. But if you already know what your premium competitor looks like and you have the ability to already look like your premium competitor from the jump, it will be easier. I'm not saying that you'll receive the same amount of sales as your premium competitor,
mhm,
but if you can sit next to them, think that will open doors quicker and you'll gain trust, especially if your product and your messaging and your customer service and everything aligns. Especially when you're woman owned or minority owned, we already have to work harder.
mhm,
We already have to do double work. So why not position our entire brand identity as a premium brand? Who said we're not premium? Just
mhm.
because I launched it today and they launched it 50 years ago, we're still competing against one another. So I think sometimes or often we might just take the shorter end of the stick because we
Mm,
just started and that's always an excuse, but it doesn't have to be.
yeah. Yeah. I know I agree with that. And you mentioned that you'll have clients who have been in the game for a while and their brand doesn't fit them anymore. So in the evolution of their business, how do you tackle this rebrand without losing the core of what made people connect with the business in the first place?
I think everybody notices the change.
Mhm.
Like the customer is not captivated. They're not buying as often as they used to. They're not as engaged. So I think it's pretty obvious. Unless you've communicated the shift in your business, or I'm a new mom, or something happened. Oftentimes you can tell because sales aren't as consistent as they used to be. So that's sometimes that's the first hint, like what's happening. And then it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, well, my customer has evolved, but my brand hasn't, or I
Mm,
haven't. And I'm going through this. And usually that's the first giveaway.
mm. I think I think a lot of brands do need a little bit of a reinvention. Um, because I've seen some and I just, even some that I've loved and I'm like, I don't no
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah,
Like
it's
and
true.
so
Even like luxury heritage brands, like the audience has shifted, but
mhm,
sometimes we're so caught up in like this brand just has like 50 plus years,
mhm,
doing the same thing, but your audience is different now. So now it's like, how do you attract this new audience or captivate them? So
yeah,
sometimes the brand has to make a shift.
yeah. And I definitely think when you're a founder, you can get so hung up on like the original, or you can get
Mhm.
so hung up on like the first idea or the first branding. And it's definitely needed. I mean, people love a good change, especially in the right direction. People
Right.
definitely love a change. I
Exciting.
think people also love to see when a brand evolves and changes for the customer, even if it is a total 180, sort of change and rebrand. I think that people they really love that. I think a lot of women when they start a brand, they're scared of, okay, well, you know, how can I make it better? I
Right.
don't even know how the hell to start it now,
Right.
And so for all the women listening who have an idea, a side hustle, a creative vision, or a business that she wants to take seriously, but she's scared, what would you tell her so that she can feel that drive and that motivation the way that you and I kind of naturally do? Because a lot of women don't feel that.
Yeah, I would ask her actually, are you afraid of starting this business, or are you more afraid of what life will be like if you don't?
Mm,
Um,
mm,
and being in that regret, at least you tried it, versus living in regret.
yeah, that's that's a big one. That is, I think I was actually having this conversation with my clients too and I said a lot of people think it takes too long, that something's going to take too long. And I said, even if it takes 4 years from now, whatever 4 years from now is, that date is going to come up. So whether
Right.
you decide to hold off on it or you decide to start today, the
Right.
4 years from now is gonna come anyway. So you might
Right.
as well do the thing that you wanna do and, so be scared, look a little cringy if you have to look cringy, I look cringy all the time. I launched the business,
Yeah.
I didn't tell anybody anything. I just started posting stuff. And I was like, I'm not doing a big post of
Right.
no, I'm not doing any of
Yeah.
that. I dropped it, I launched it. I was like, "Okay, here it is."
Right.
And, that was after going ghost on social media for like a month and a half. And, my first post was like, "Don't leave me alone because I'm gonna start a new business." And then that was pretty
I love it.
much what I said.
Yeah.
That's pretty much,
Sometimes
so
all you need too. I don't know why sometimes
mhm,
we get in our heads like, oh, it needs to be a big launch. No, especially if you're scared, see who buys. Test out
mhm,
your idea before you
yeah,
tell the whole world.
yeah. And, to your point before, I made a whole new TikTok page that no one knew about. I made a whole TikTok, and anyone that I followed on my old one that I don't even have anymore, they didn't follow this new one because I didn't share it, I didn't do anything with it. So I really made it as a backup account. And then one of my little videos went semi-viral and I went, wait a minute now. And then I kind of just stayed on there, but no one follows this new account. I love it.
That's so
I
funny
l-
that you say that. So I just started a new Instagram because the one that I have is from all of my businesses. And I'm like, by now, my algorithm doesn't know if I am an e-commerce, a mom out here in the streets protesting. And
Mhm.
now it's like DCG, what since when? So I literally started a new Instagram page like 2 weeks ago. And it's getting pushed out more than the one I've had for years.
Yes, I've seen that too. Oh my gosh, I've seen that. I'm like, this is crazy. Like my personal Instagram is a mess, girl. That thing ain't going nowhere. I'm stuck at 500 followers and that's the way it's going to be until the end of time because it doesn't know what I am. Like you said,
Yeah.
it doesn't know a thing about me. So, but the other accounts that I've made, they do well. It's a niche. It's good,
Right.
It's funny because I do have people that reach out to me, which is why I love this conversation because I have people reach out to me all the time. How do you start a podcast? I'm like, babe, put on your laptop, stick your phone, put your phone attached to it and record something. Like it's really it's that simple. And we could get in our head so much to the point where it just turns into a dream. And that's really just it.
Right.
I think that ignition of starting is what scares women the most.
Yeah.
It's just doing it and, like, putting it out there. But I
Right.
think it is really difficult for us to, like, not care, about what people think. I think that's one of the biggest deterrents for women to put things out there is because we're so heavily judged.
Mm-hmm.
We are often weaponized, villainized, victimized. I mean, we're all the things. And so it's very difficult for us to put things out there. And so from where you first started your brand and you were a new mom to now, what mindset shift has changed for you?
Well, now I'm full time working for myself.
Mm,
And the mindset shift is that there is literally nothing different between me and the president of a Fortune 300 because
mhm,
they were coming to me for ideas. And now I'm executing these ideas for myself. So that
mm,
I really don't think that there's a difference. We're both fully capable and both fully deserving. And maybe me even
absolutely.
more because I have kids.
Uh, period. I said the same thing. I'm like, listen, we're different. We don't do the same thing. Okay.
Right.
We do the same thing and I have kids, so I do it way better than you do.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Oh my God. I could not agree more. Oh my heavens. How do you so because people ask me this question all the time and I truthfully don't even have an answer because my brain just doesn't work past a certain time anymore. But people are like, how do you do it? Like, how do you juggle it all? How do you manage it all? I'm like, girl, I don't know. I just do it.
Yeah, I just
I
do
get
it.
up.
I'm also okay with not being the perfect mom every day.
Mm,
And I hear a lot of my clients who are moms, and sometimes, I'm sure there was a point in, well, not I'm sure, but I know there was a point where I felt guilty for even leaving my kids, like when I'd have to go on a trip or something. But I don't feel guilty for wanting to be successful because I actually always wanted that. And just
mhm,
because I'm a mom doesn't mean I can't have it. Is my
absolutely.
process going to be different? Yes. But I know that I can have it. And my kids are like so excited. I told them, I'm like, I actually need quiet time because I'm going to record a podcast. And they're like, wait, you're going to be on YouTube? And I was like, I don't know, it might be on YouTube. And they're like, oh my God, that's so cool. Can we come on with you?
Oh my God.
I'm like, no, but maybe we could watch it on YouTube together. And they're
Oh
like,
my
oh my God. So like it's different. Um, and I am okay with not being the best mom every day because I know that they don't lack anything.
mm,
Nothing's going to be wrong with them because I worked a little bit more today
mhm,
versus yesterday or tomorrow.
mhm.
Um, and it does take a village, but I think it does come down to like just being okay with not being a great mom every day. Or maybe it's not even called being a great mom, but this is going to be priority today and not tomorrow. And it wasn't a
Yes.
priority yesterday, but every day is different. Some days
Absolutely.
I can just focus on being a mom, and some days I have to have a meeting and I have to give them their iPad.
A Absolutely. I am all for that iPad girl. Listen, people are like, "I don't do screens." I'm like, "That's nice." Like, not me, girl. I need that iPad. Like tonight, like my daughter was screaming. She was and I love that your kids get involved because my son gets involved. He's 4. He
Oh,
loves to get involved with the things that I'm doing. He's like, "Mommy, are you making a journal for a customer? Can I help you
yeah.
pack it?" Or like my podcast, he's like, "Mommy, can I be on the camera with you?" He loves to be on the camera. It just shows like, you know what? Like my baby is seeing me do wonderful, great things. He's not lacking anywhere. And I love what you said because, just because I'm a mom doesn't mean I can't have it all. I can have my career. I can have my family. I can have my me time. I can have my friends and my and love life and whatever. I can have it all. And, that all looks different for some people, but for us, it includes having our children.
Mhm.
And I definitely agree with you because, in terms of, a good mom, we're always a good mom.
Right,
Showing up for our babies, you're a good mom. You can That guilt that you felt, that makes you a good mom because some women don't give a about any of those
right.
things.
Yeah.
But I think your reframe of that it's shifting priority. It's shifting priority. It's adapting to the day, like in my planner, it's not gonna get done today, but it'll get done tomorrow morning when I wake up before you kids at like 5 a.m. and then
Right.
you get up at 5:30. But nevertheless, it got done.
Got that.
But like that's what happens when you have babies, but that doesn't mean that it comes at the expense of your own personal growth in your career. Like
Yeah.
I don't believe in that at all. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're going to have, some pull away moments, during like the newborn stage and where we're sleep deprived and they're on the boob and all that other stuff. And so, we have to step away and, like, I get that.
Right.
But my son is 4. I'm like, I'm going out. My son is 4. My daughter's 2. I got networking events. I'm like, y'all are good.
We're
I'm
good.
going to go. Love you. Bye.
Right.
Or like a business trip that I had to go
Yeah.
on when I worked for Paramount. I'm like, I'm going to LA. Love you. Bye. I didn't feel guilty at all.
Yeah,
I
I
was like,
know.
see
Sometimes
ya.
you need that. You need to be yourself in between
Mhm.
mommy too.
Exactly. I'm in this shift now where I'm entering working for myself and it's so exhilarating. It feels good and like it's working. And by the way, this will be on YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram and TikTok. So your kids will be able to watch everywhere. But it's really important because when we do this for ourselves, I don't know about you, but for me, my career has a big part of my identity. It is a big part of my identity.
Same.
And, you know, it I didn't realize how much until I left Paramount. So, I wanna touch on one more thing before I
Yeah.
let you go for the evening. Wow, we just hit an hour. That is so crazy. Last question. I love being a Latina, specifically empowering, pushing Black and brown women to do all the things that they wanna do. This whole show, this whole reason why I rebranded this show into what it is now and to use my show to pour into the women in our community, what is something that you wish more entrepreneurs understood earlier in their entrepreneurial journey?
That's a great question. Honestly, that they're worthy.
Mm,
Because I don't know if like our whole experiences, well, I guess I could only speak for myself, but it was always just work and put your head down.
mm,
And in entrepreneurship, you can't. And we are worthy to be seen. This light is meant to be seen and felt and shine as far as the eye could see. And there is no difference between you and your competitor. Like, why can't you? And I do feel like maybe generationally or
mm,
culturally of what our our customs may be, but like we are worthy to be as successful. And so what? Be the first.
mhm,
Break. break these patterns, to take your family and lineage and ancestors to the next level. Shoot, sometimes we're the first ones to liberate everybody. So be the
Mhm.
first.
I love that. I love that so, so much. And everyone that is listening, all of your clients, and, everyone that listens to the show, comes on my site, your page, like, I think that conversations like this are really, really great in terms of getting really wonderful insight into business, but also getting insight into two women who are trying to do it for themselves, and that you have permission to be everything that you want to be
Absolutely.
and to feel worthy, to know that you're worthy, and to just live in that
Literally.
worth, in that validation that you deserve everything that you want, and there should be no limitation. So, I
Absolutely.
love that. That is like that's the
Ugh,
best.
I hate limits. Give me a limit and nope, we're
Mhm.
breaking that.
Absolutely. Shattering it, blowing it out the water. And I wish that that drive that I feel we naturally have sometimes,
Mhm.
I just wanna take a little piece of it and give it
Right?
to someone, because 'cause I'm like, "You would be amazing." And ultimately, we could have these wonderful conversations and tell these women, "You are worthy, you are smart, you
Right.
are incredible, you're creative, you're powerful." But you need to feel it for yourself. You need to do it for yourself. And, we could tell you all the things,
Yep.
but until you feel it for yourself, that is the moment that you're going to really change the whole trajectory of your life. This
Yep.
was a wonderful conversation.
It
This
was.
was
Thank
really
you.
great. Pamela, thank you for coming on the show today. Your insight has been really wonderful. I loved talking all the brand and the design with you and learning all these business inside things, and I really hope that whoever listens, it really transcends into everything that they wanna do.
Thank you. Likewise. I'm sure we absolutely inspired someone.